Okay, so this is going to be a recording of how to use recruitment management on Agency Portal. So when you first log into Agency Portal, usually this is what you would see. So this is your shift management because you see a calendar here. So if you see the calendar, it means you're on the wrong side. So what you want to do here is go to the top right of your screen, and then you have the 9 squares here, which is next to the notification bell. So in the top right, you click the 9 little squares, and this is going to allow you to switch to recruitment management. So now we're on the recruitment side of Agency Portal. This is going to allow you to manage your candidates. So whenever someone goes on your website, they click on the register button, and then it takes them to the candidate registration form. So I'm just going to show an example of that right now. So this is your candidate registration form. This allows your candidates to register to work for you. So usually this would already be on your website if you were set up by Care Agency Media. If this is not currently on your website, then you can talk to the agency portal team and then we can get a request through. So we can update your website. So instead of having the old registration form, instead you'll have something like this. Of course, it would come up with your own company name and your own company logo. So this is just the example that I've got open right now. So my test agency is called Agency Portal Care Home, which is what I use for these training sessions. So when you have this on your website, it will say your company name here and it'll come up with your logo. So all the candidates do is they go on your website, they click the register button, they put their details in like their first name, last name, email address, and phone number. They choose the roles that they want to apply for, such as nurse, support worker, etc. And then they choose the areas that they want to work in. So these are going to be the areas where your clients are based. So if you have a client based in Manchester, Sheffield, etc., you'll add those to your list of coverages. So that way, your candidates can select those to apply for. So this is the first thing we're going to cover actually. We're going to show you how to modify your roles and work areas, because this is going to be needed for when you continue with your recruitment. So actually we're going to switch back to shift management and we're going to go into the settings before we carry on. So you click the 9 squares in the top right, shift management, and then you want to go into your settings. So now that we can see the calendar, that means we're back on the shift management side. So you click on your profile icon that's in the top right. So that's the white circle with a person inside of it and a red shirt. So you click onto that, go to settings, and then you want to click on the one called coverage. So that's about a third way down, the one called coverage. You click onto that, and this is going to allow you to manage your work areas. So on our side, it's called coverage, but towards your candidates, it's going to be called work areas, because to them, they're selecting the areas that they can work in. So you want to make sure that you come here to shift management, go to the settings, and add your coverages here. So let's say these are the 4 cities that we currently operate in. So that means we have a client, or at least one client, in each of these cities. Let's say now we're going to start operating in Glasgow. So we're going to have a client based in Glasgow. So that obviously means all our current candidates, based in Manchester, based in London, they cannot go to Glasgow and work there. That's completely fine. But we still want to add Glasgow to this list, so that way we can get new people to go on our website, to click the register button, and then they can select Glasgow from this list. So you come here to coverage, you click add new, and then you type in the Glasgow. You can type in the postcode if you want to of the care home, but usually what I would do is just do it by the city. So I put Glasgow, put the radius as whatever number you want. It does not actually matter what number you put here. All it does is indicate a blue circle on the map to show you where Glasgow is. So even if you set it as, let's say, 60, it's just going to show a slightly bigger circle. But it does not matter if your candidates or your employees are in this circle or not. It has completely no effect on them taking their shifts. So you just put whatever number you want, and that's completely fine. And then the area name is what they will see. So we're going to put Glasgow here and click save. So that's all you have to do to add a new work area to this candidate list. So now that I refresh this registration form and I go back to work areas, you can see Glasgow is now here. So we can start hiring people now that are based in Glasgow, so they can start working in the care home that we're about to sign a contract with that's in the Glasgow area. So that's how you do your work areas / coverages. They can select more than one if they want to. And then the next one is job roles. So this one's straightforward as well. You just click on job roles that's underneath coverage. You click the add new button in the top right, and then you just have to fill the details in. So regarding the job role itself, you don't need to worry about all this information here. This is something that will be covered in your training session. So for now, you can just follow what I'm going to do in this video here. So we've already got a nurse and support worker. So let's say we're going to start hiring healthcare assistants now. So in the job roles here, we're going to call this HCA for healthcare assistant, or you could type in healthcare assistant if you want to. This is just the job role name that they're going to see on the form. For all of this information here, you can just put any number you want. So I'm just going to put 0. I'm going to put 0 for the next one. For start time, I'm just going to put 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. And then agency rate, let's just say £15 for now, and then £10 for employee rate. This part does not matter for now. You can put whatever number you want. Just make sure you fill the boxes out so then you can create this job role. So once you've done the first row, you just have to click the apply to all box, and that's going to fill in the rest. And then you just click next at the bottom, and you do the exact same for nighttime now. So the night time's already been set up because it's using the times of your daytime. So the only thing you need to do here is put numbers for the nighttime rates. So we're just going to say £18 and then £12. And then just click apply to all. So these are just example figures that are going to be used in the invoices. But as I mentioned, you do not need to worry about the figures you put here because we are going to be covering this in the training session or in a separate video. But for the sake of just the recruitment side, just fill these numbers in, put any number you want, and as long as it allows you to save, we're good to go. So now we have a job role called healthcare assistant. So now when we go back to our registration form and we click refresh, you can see here now that, wrong one. You can see here now we have the healthcare assistant role available, which wasn't available before. So that's all you have to do to add your work areas and your job roles onto the registration form. Regarding the rest of the settings, you don't need to worry about this because it will be covered later on. Just for the sake of recruitment, you do need to have the coverages and the job roles done. Usually there would be a demo job role and a demo location available for you, but if you don't want to use that because you want to start recruiting now, you can do what I just showed you, where you add the coverages and the job roles here. So now we're going to switch back to recruitment management. And I can now go over how the recruitment management side works, now that we've covered how to, edit this candidate registration form. So you have your dashboard, which is the page we're currently on now. So this is the first page that you'll see when you switch to recruitment management. It takes you straight to your dashboard. So here, it'll have your logo in the top left, but because this is just my training agency, it's just called Agency Portal here, but your logo would usually appear here. You have your candidates that have registered here at the top, and then you have the applications of people that have actually filled out their full application. So that's why we have only one application, but 2 candidates. So this means 2 people have registered using this registration form here, but only one of them has actually signed in to finish the rest of their form. So let's just do an example to show you how this candidate section works before we continue. So let's say I want to sign up here. We're going to just call this test. We've got Simon Smith, we've got John Smith, so we're going to call someone Bob Smith. Let's say Bob wants to start working for this care home. He fills his number in, or email, and then also his number. Then he chooses the role that he wants to apply for. So he wants to be a healthcare assistant working in, let's just say, London. Then he chooses his username, password, and confirm password. So when it comes to the username, they do not have to write a username. They could just use their email if they wanted to. And then once they're done, we just have to click the register button at the bottom. So now Bob Smith has registered to work for this care home. And you can see here, it has sent him an email as well. So that email is just going to let him know that he's registered, and it's going to give him a link to this login page, just in case he accidentally closed it. But now that he's registered, if I come here and refresh my portal, you can see we now have a new candidate called Bob Smith. So we now have 3 candidates and 1 application. So that's all your candidates have to do to register. They go on your website, they fill in the registration form, and then it will take them to this login page. So now I'm going to log in as Bob Smith by clicking the login button. And that's going to take me straight to my candidate portal. So if I click continue here, it will take me straight to my application form. If I click cancel, it will just allow me to view the dashboard, but we'll come back to this later on. So you can see here, Bob Smith has now registered. You will receive a notification in this notifications box when people register, and you'll also receive an email in your agency portal email box, but we're going to cover those features later on. And then on the right-hand side, you have your list of recent candidates. So this is going to show you your full list of people that have recently registered. Right now, I only have 3 people, so it's always going to show these 3, even if it's like 6 months from now. But once more people start to register, it will replace these people here and push them down the list. If you want to view a candidate's profile, you can just directly click onto their row. Or you can click View All to take you to your candidate list. By clicking the View All button here, that is the exact same thing as clicking Candidates that's on the left-hand side. And then at the bottom, you have your list of upcoming to-do lists. So this will allow you to manage your interviews or any events that you might be happening soon. So it will give you an upcoming message when it's going to be starting soon. As you can see here, it says, Jason, you have a task, John Smith interview at 11. So that reminded me 30 minutes before, and then also at 11. So 30 minutes before the interview comes up, you will get a message here of an upcoming to-do. So now we're going to go to our candidate list. So that will be the next menu down, because we've just covered the dashboard now. So you can click on candidates on the left-hand side, or you can click on the View All button in this recent candidate box. So I'm going to go on the left-hand side and click candidates. So these are my full list of candidates. Your portal might not look like this at first. So all you have to do here is click on this little icon above the number 1. So this is what yours might look like at first, but you can switch between the two. So this is list view. It just shows them in a list one by one, whereas grid view will show them in boxes. So there is no real difference. It's completely just preference of how you want to use the portal. I prefer to use grid view because you do have access to the 3 dots here. Well, it's more accessible. Whereas if you have it in list view, it's more towards the end. Right now, this might not look like a problem, but when you have people that select more than 2 or 3 work areas, you're going to notice that those 3 dots slowly get pushed to the side. And then at the bottom of your screen, you're going to have to use a scroll bar to access those 3 dots. So I prefer to use grid view because those 3 dots will always be there in the top corner. So this is your candidate list. At the top, you can see here, we're currently on the candidate list. Next to that, you have your archive list. So this is going to show you the people that you've hired. So if you do decide to hire any of these people, all you have to do is click on the 3 dots and then click upgrade to employee. So that will then add him here to the archive list. And it will also move him to shift management under your list of employees. That will move all the information that they've submitted as well. So none of the information they've submitted here will be lost. If you do decide to hire John Smith right now, you just have to click upgrade to employee, and that will move him to the shift management side and in the archive list. So once he's on shift management, if you click to your employees' profiles, you'll see that John Smith will be there and all his information will be there as well. In the top right, you have an invite button. So this is going to allow you to send an invite to people. So you click on invite, then you click the send invitation button, and you just have to put their name, surname, email address, and phone number. And this will allow you to send the registration form. Actually, let me open that registration form back up. So it will send them this registration form here in a text message and an email. So that's all the invitation does. It just gives you a way to send someone the registration form. So this is no different from asking them to go onto your website and then click the register button. It's just another way to send them this form. So you do not have to use the invitation button for people to register. It's just another way for you to send that link to someone. The other way is you could just send them an email and you can copy paste the link as well. And then underneath, you can search by person's name, you can search by roles available, and you can search by work areas as well. You have your numbers here, so this is going to allow you to switch between the pages in case you do have more applicants. And then you can see we have Bob Smith, Simon Smith, and John Smith. So the difference here is that 2 of them have just registered, whereas 1 of them has registered but has logged in to actually fill out their form. So I'll show you the difference now. So if I click onto Simon Smith here, you can see there's no information on his page, except the details he's provided when he registered. So when someone does register, their account is immediately created, but you only have access to their name, email address, and phone number, because that's what they've provided here on the registration form. So name, email address, and phone number. So that way you can contact this person. So you can see John Smith has registered. They haven't filled their form out, even though it's been like 2 weeks now. So you can give them a call because you have their phone number, or you can send them an email and you can ask them why they haven't filled their form in yet. So going back to the candidate list, before we continue with the candidate view, we're going to go through the options here. So on each person's profile, you have the 3 dots. This is going to allow you to make changes to the application or do certain features. So the first one is view. That is the exact same thing as just clicking on the profile. This is going to allow you to view their candidate profile. The next one is edit. So this is going to allow you to make changes to their application form from your end. So by clicking edit, you're saving changes here as an admin. So you're not making changes as the candidate, you're making changes as if you were an admin, making a change to an application. So what that means is that you actually have more access to their profile than they would. So if they try to save something and it told them that something is missing, because they're the candidate that's making that change, it will come up with an error message and it will not allow them to save because they're missing something here. But if you're editing this as an admin, like I'm doing right now, you can make any changes you want and save that change, and it won't give you an error message because you're an admin that's editing this. So that's what the edit button does. It allows you to make changes to this application from your agency account. So that is different from logging in as the candidate and making changes as the candidate. You have upgrade to employee. So as I mentioned earlier, this allows you to hire this person. So if you decide right now that Bob Smith is someone that's already working for you, but he accidentally registered as a candidate, even though, he works for you right now, all you have to do here is click the 3 dots and click upgrade to employee. So I'm going to do that right now just to show you what it does. So you can upgrade someone to employee at any stage of the application, even if they have not done anything here. Like you can see, all I did was register as Bob Smith a few minutes ago. He hasn't actually signed in to finish his application form yet. So I'm going to upgrade Bob Smith to an employee because we're going to pretend that he does currently work for us and we need him to take a shift tomorrow. So instead of getting him to fill out this form, which he might not do by tomorrow, we can instead upgrade him to an employee right now, and then we can update his information later. So you click the 3 dots, click upgrade to employee, and then click yes. So now you can see Bob Smith is no longer on this candidate list. But if I go to my archive list at the top, you can see Bob Smith is here and he is now qualified. So this gives you a list of people that you have upgraded to an employee. For me to find Bob Smith now, all I have to do is switch back to shift management. Go to my list of employees on the left-hand side, and you can see Bob Smith is now here. So this is how you can hire people to be an employee right now. And as I mentioned, let's say he has a shift tomorrow. We can just click on his profile, click edit, and this is going to allow me to make changes to his application form, even though there was nothing here in the first place. So he can start doing his shifts, and then I can tell him what information I need from him, and then I can start submitting this as he does his shifts. So that is one way to hire someone, in case you need to hire them right now. Usually the method would be that they would register, and then you would go through their profile. So that's what we're going to do right now. So John Smith, you can see here it says form submitted. So that means this person has actually signed into Agency Portal and filled out their form. So I'm going to click in the login as candidate button at the bottom so I can have that ready. Then I'll show you what the registration form looks like. The next feature on here is send SMS. So that's going to allow you to send them text messages through Agency Portal. The text messages will cost 4 pence per text, but since you've just registered and you're a new account, you'll likely have 200 credits for free. So credits, it's 1 credit per text message, and if you want to buy more, it will cost you 4 pence per text. But this is something that will be covered in the training session when we talk about the text messages and the credits. But as I mentioned, you will have 200 credits for free, so you can still send text messages right now if you want to. Next one is send email. So this is going to allow you to send an email to someone using Agency Portal's email system. So all you have to do is click send email, click in the box, and then you can make changes to this template, and then click send email when you're ready. Next one is download. So this is going to allow you to download this person's application as a PDF. So we can see here that John Smith has submitted his form. So we click the 3 dots, click download, and then it's going to download that application form. So this is what it looks like. So this is the application form filled out by him, and this is what our download looks like. So we can quickly download his profile, and then we can have it ready for the interview if needed. Or maybe you just prefer to have your own digital copy, then it's here. So we won't really go through this in detail. This is something that you can try out yourself and download, and then take a look at. And then lastly, you have delete. So if you want to delete the person's application, click the 3 dots, click delete, and then click yes. So all this does is it moves them to the recycling bin. So on the left-hand side, right at the bottom, you have a section called bin. So this is where your candidates will be that you've deleted. So they will stay here permanently unless you delete them or restore them. So to do that, you just have to hover over the 3 dots, click onto it, and then it says restore or delete. So for Simon Smith here, we want to restore him. So we're just going to click the restore button and click yes. So all that information is still going to be there, even if you deleted them and they're in this bin. All that information is still intact. You just have to restore them, and then their profile will be back here as it was before. If you delete someone from the bin, that will permanently delete them off the system. So that means they will be completely off the database. So that means they can register again if they need to. And all that information will be lost if you delete it from here. So the next part now that we're going to cover is login as candidate. So I clicked this one before, and if I go back to my previous tab, this is what it looks like when you click the login as candidate button. So it opens up a new tab, and it logs you in as if you were the candidate. So this is going to allow me to make changes to the application form as if I was John Smith. So I just have to click continue here to take me to the application form. If I click cancel, then for me to access the application form, you just have to go on the left-hand side and click My Profile. And then underneath here, you have a section called Edit Profile. So here, I am making changes as if I was John Smith. That is completely different from making changes from clicking the Edit button. So this is the Edit button, and this is me logged in as John Smith. So they're slightly different, but there will be some permission changes. So when you edit the person's profile, you can save any change you want. But if you're logged in as John Smith, I have to actually fill out the form properly. So I need to make sure that I'm filling out, the relevant fields, the ones with the stars, and then I can save the page. So if your candidates are struggling with saving something, you could try logging in as the candidate and seeing what the error message is in the top right when you try to save, or you could just click the 3 dots, click edit, and you can make that change for your candidate and save over it. So this is the application form that your candidate's going to be filling out. So for your candidate to get onto this page, all they have to do is go on your website, click the register button, and fill out this form. Once they filled out the form, they click register, and that will then take them to this login page. They will then put their username or password here, or username and password, and then click login. Once they've then logged in, it will take them to the application form, as I just showed you. So they just have to fill this out. It will take them roughly around 15 minutes, maybe a little bit longer if they need to find their documents. So this is the first step, profile, personal details. So they put their personal details in, such as their first name, last name, gender. Have they ever changed their name? They upload a profile picture by clicking on this upload photo. They fill in their about me here. So why they want to work for this company. Personal details too, so date of birth, national insurance number, etc. Contact and address details, so their email address and phone number. Work and personal details, so this part is taken from the registration form. So you can see here nurse, Sheffield and Manchester. That is taken from this form when they're filling it in, the work details section. So this gives them a chance to reflect on it and maybe add extra job roles or remove ones if they've changed their mind. Or maybe they've moved since they first registered, so now they can work in Liverpool, Sheffield and Manchester. General availability. So at this point in stage, they're just a candidate, so you don't need to know their specific availability at this point. You could ask them that during the interview, but for now, all we need is their general availability. So anytime, mornings, evening, etc. When's the earliest date they can start work? Are they willing to work on short notice? Any commitments that reduce flexibility to work? ID and right to work. So this part here is how they're going to prove that they can work in the UK. So the first one is called passport. That's the first document type. The second one is residence permit, permanent residence card, biometric card, immigration status document, birth certificate, adoption certificate, certificate of registration, and then certificate of naturalization. So those are all the options that they can select from to prove that they can work in the UK. So the most common one might be passport or biometric card, etc. So they just have to choose that document type on this stage, and then they'll upload that document later on. Then they choose a driver's license if they have one. If they click yes, it's going to ask them for all this information. If they click no, then those boxes will disappear. Language details, pretty straightforward, fluent, good or fair for both spoken and written. And then a section here to add any other languages they may speak. DBS details if they currently have one. And then next of kin emergency contact. So as long as they're filling out all the mandatory fields, this will allow them to save this page. If they click save and they get an error message in the top, or they're telling you that they can't save, make sure you ask them to specifically look out for the error message. So that way you can find out why it's not saving. Because you might run into candidates that forget to fill a certain part out, and then they tell you that they can't save it. So you want to make sure that you're chasing them up and that they tell you why they can't save the page. And then if you're unable to find out why they can't save it, then you can always contact Agency Portal as well. So by clicking save or continue, that will save the page. Save just saves the page, whereas continue will save the page and then take you to the next page. So by saving the page, this will automatically update their form. So if you go to John Smith here, if he were to update the About Me and then click Save, you will see this update in real time. So you do not have to wait for them to get to the end to update their full application or to have access it. As long as we're updating it bit by bit and they click Save, you will see those relevant sections update in real time. Next part is employment and education. So they just have to add their qualifications here, upload some documents to go with it. So if they have more than one qualification, we just have to click on the blue box with a plus sign, and then we can add more. And that is the same with training and other courses, and also the same with professional body memberships. And then we just click Save or Continue, and that'll take them to the next part. So this one's straightforward as well. Just add their work history in here. So title, employer, from date, and to date. Click the plus sign to add more if they need to. Skills and languages, so they can type in this box. So if I type the letter A, it's going to expand and show me a bunch of skills that begin with the letter A. And then I can add that on. Next section is terms and declarations. So they just have to read through this and then add their signature. I'm not going to go through this in detail. It's pretty straightforward. And if you do want to see this registration form in more detail, I would recommend that you register yourself as a candidate and then go take your time to go through this. Because this is not something that you'll necessarily be going through that much. This is for your candidates. But if you want to familiarize yourself with the registration form so you can help your candidates out when they have issues, then it would be a good idea to register as a candidate and test this out. So that's it for the last step of profile. We just have to add their signatures and then save that. Next is then uploading their documents. So because I selected passport, it's going to ask me to upload my passport here. And because I selected driver's license, it asked me for my driver's license here as well. If I did select something like birth certificate, then I will have to upload that here in the other section instead. So there is an other document section which will allow your candidates to upload any other kind of document. So if they do want to upload their CV, cover letter, proof of address, etc., then they can upload that here. And then references. So 2 professional referees, must not be any family members, friends, or relatives. So as long as they fill out the mandatory fields, that is fine. They do not have to fill everything else out, just the mandatory fields. So as long as they have the first name, last name, and email address, then I will show you that you can send reference forms to these people. Next is then health questionnaire. So this will allow you to send, it'll allow your candidates to just tick yes or no to provide you their medical history. So pretty straightforward, just yes or no, code, vaccination history, etc. GP details. And then the very last section is payment details. So if they don't want to provide this right now, then as long as they click save at the bottom of each page, then you'll have access to that information. It just will not say form submitted. For it to say form submitted, they will have to get to the last section, which is payment details, and fill this in. But they don't have to fill this in if they don't want to. As long as they get to health questionnaire and they've been saving their changes, then you do have all the information that you need to continue with the applicant. And then you can ask them to fill the payment details later on. So that's it for the candidate job application. So quickly, just to go over it again, your candidates go on your website, they click the register button and fill these details in, they log in, and then they fill out this application form. Once they've done all that, that is all they have to do until you go back to them saying that you want to have an interview or not. So now going back to the candidate list, we're now going to view this person's profile because they've submitted their application. So to do that, you just have to click on the box, and this allows you to view their application form. So most of that information is on the profile tab, which is the current tab, and you can scroll down to find it. So you've got compliance documents, their name, availability, about me, personal details, skills, work experience, etc. But before we continue, maybe you want to update this person to the review stage. So this is optional. You do not have to use update status. A lot of these features are independent of each other. So you don't have to update the status to do the next steps. Let's say you wanted to send the reference forms off. It does not matter if you update the status or not. But this will make more sense later. So we're going to change this person's status to review, just so we can keep track of it. So you click on the update status in that box underneath it, and you change it to the next drop-down menu, which is review. And this is going to give you a pop-up box. For now, we're just going to click skip. So you can see here, John Smith is now on the review stage instead of the form submitted stage. So when you go back to your candidate list, you can now see the difference between these two candidates. You know that you've already started reviewing this person, whereas the first person has not even submitted their form yet. So now that we've changed them to the review stage, you can now start reviewing this person. So you can make some notes as you scroll down the page, look at their availability, look at their about me, skills, work experience, training, etc. And then you can decide if this is someone that you want to interview or not. So we're going to say here, based off the information we've seen, we can see he's qualified and we can see that he's eager to work here. So we're going to get now put him on the interview stage. So you can change the update status again, change it to interview, and then it gives you another pop-up window. So because this person is now on the interview stage, maybe we do want to share some notes with him. So we're going to say here, please bring visa to interview. And then you can also put another message underneath. Maybe you can copy paste a link here, or maybe you can ask him to email you or call you so you can schedule the interview. But for now, we're just going to include this one message. You can put whatever you want in this box, but this is what I'm going to say for now. If you want them to receive this message as well, you have to tick the box here called For Text and Message Notification. If this box is not ticked, then your candidate will not see this message. So you tick this box here called For Text Message Notification, and then any notes you write in this box will also be sent to the applicant. So if you click the Save button, it will save the notes here and send them. If you click Skip, then it will not send these notes, but it will still update him to the next interview stage. If you click Cancel, it's just going to stop this change. And then if you click anywhere off the screen, it's going to revert those changes and also take you back as well. So we're going to say bring visa to interview, and then we're just going to click Save. So, I changed it to the wrong one that was selected. So I'm going to change that back to interview, and I'll do that again. Bring visa to interview. Click the box so the notification is sent, and then you click Save. So now he's on the interview stage. So because we've now updated the status, that means he's received an email. So each time you do update the status, the person will automatically be notified. So now on the left-hand side, you have this section here called Email. You click on the email box, and then from here, this is where you can see your inbox. So it's going to show you all the people that have registered and all the people that have submitted references. These emails only appear in this agency portal email box. If you want these to also get sent to your main email, such as your info email or your recruitment email, so that way you don't need agency portal open to receive these, then I'll show you how to set that up in the settings later on. For now, this is just the email box that you have on agency portal. So you will only receive two types of emails in this inbox: people sending reference submissions and candidates registering. You can compose emails by clicking the green button at the top. So pretty straightforward email box. You have a sent box. So this part is quite important because it allows you to see what kind of emails you've sent on the system. So this means any email you've manually written out yourself, and it also includes the automated emails the agency portal has sent out. So if I click this one at the top here, this is the most recent one, you can see because I changed John Smith's status to interview, it's sent him this email. Say, Dear John Smith, your application form has moved to interview. And you can see here, it also includes the notes because I had written down some notes and I ticked that box called Share Notes. So that means it includes those notes here in this message. So now he knows that he should bring his visa to the interview. Next, you have your drafts box, archive, and bin. At the top, you got your search bar, and then you got your arrows so you can switch between your inboxes or pages. So yeah, that's it for the email box. Pretty straightforward. You can send the emails, look at emails you received, and view your sent emails as well, which I see is the most important part. Because then this allows you to see if you've actually sent a reference form off to someone. So now going back to the candidate list, I click back onto John Smith. The interview itself is not done on agency portal. you'll have to do this yourself. So you're going to have to contact the person and schedule your own interview, which will, either be done online or in person. But Agency Portal itself is not used to book interviews or do interviews. It's just here to hold their information so you can go through their application. So we're going to say here that we've done our interview with John Smith and he was successful. So now I can update the status again and I can change it to the next option. So this one is called checks and verification. We don't really need to send any notes here, so I'm just going to click the skip button. So no notes have been sent, but it has sent an email to this person to let him know he's on checks and verification. If you don't want it to send any emails, just click the cancel button instead. So that will update the status, but it will not send any email. So checks and verification. In this stage, you can send your reference forms off. But as I mentioned, you do not have to use update status window. This will not prevent you from using other features. It's just here to let you know that they're currently on the stage. So at the top here, you have availability, documents. You can view the documents they've uploaded. You can download or view them. Training to see the training they've uploaded on their application form. And lastly, compliance. So at the bottom of this compliance page, you're going to find your references here. So this is important because this is where you're doing your verification stage. So under compliance, you go to the bottom and you have referee 1 and 2. So let's say you want to send a reference form off to this person's referees. Because they're now done their interview, we want to get their reference forms. So you go to the bottom and you click send email in the yellow box. Because yellow means they have not completed a reference yet. Blue means the reference form has been completed and you can download it because there's a download button here. But you can see on the yellow one, this one is not done. So for us to send this reference form off, all you have to do is click send email and it's going to open up a template. So this template here allows you to review the email before you actually send it to your candidate. The candidate's referee. So if you want to make changes to this email, just click onto it, remove the parts that you don't want, write the parts that you do want, and that's it. If you accidentally deleted the link, you obviously don't want to send the email because there's no link. So instead, you click off the box, click send email again, and then it refreshes that template. So all you do here is click send email once you're happy with it, and then your referee will open that link and fill out this reference form. So they put their own details in, how they know the applicant, the applicant's details in, and would they re-employ this person, and then they assess the following skills. So they just have to tick the boxes for what they consider relevant for this person. And then lastly is section 2, so more of the serious stuff such as disciplinary action, safeguarding, etc. And then underneath you have a section for additional comments. So if your referee does want to, handwrite something or they want to do, a character reference, then they can do it here in this additional comments area. Then that's it. They just have to add their signature. And then click submit. So once they've submitted this form, the box will turn blue and allow you to download it. So you can see here, we can click download, and that will allow you to download this person's application form. So that's it for references. This will allow you to send references to people. If you do need to make a change to someone's reference, you can just click the edit button here. Just make sure you make a note of what their previous reference is for, just in case, you need to go back to it. Or maybe you want to test something out. Maybe your applicant is not receiving their reference forms. So you can click edit here, edit this in to put your own email and then save it. Just make sure you keep a note of their previous email so you can change it back. And then once you've changed it to your email and updated it, you can send yourself an email and see if it's worked. If it does work, you can then just forward them that email. Another way to edit the person's references is by just clicking the 3 dots and clicking edit. And this will allow you to change their application form. So you can go to references there and then change them this way as well. So that's it for checks and verification. You send your references forms off. Once you've received them, the box will turn blue. This will allow you to download it. If you do go to your dashboard, you will get a notification here letting you know a reference form has been submitted. So it will say John Smith's reference form has been submitted. And then you can click directly on that notification and it will take you to the person's page. You'll also receive an email on Agency Portal. So you can see here we have one called New Reference Submission for John Smith. And this will allow you to view and download that reference form that was completed. So as I mentioned earlier, these emails only appear in the Agency Portal email box. But if you want these emails to also get forwarded to your info email or your recruitment email, so that way when you're out and you're on the go, you can still see when people register without having Agency Portal open. So to do that, you just have to go to your settings. So on the left-hand side here, go to settings, and then this is your settings page. So you want to keep the free ones ticked because this allows you to send emails using Agency Portal, allows you to send text messages, and allows you to send notifications. So here you just want to set your reminder. So if someone does register and they haven't filled their form out in 5 days, then it's going to send them a reminder to let them know the application form is still due. This will send a reminder to referees. It will only send the reminder off if you've sent the reference form. So candidates' reference forms do not get sent automatically. You will have to come here, go to compliance, and send that reference form yourself, off yourself, because you don't want it to be automated because it might then end up sending reference forms to people that you might not even hire at the end of the day. So this is why you have to do it manually, so that way you have full control over the system and you decide when those reference forms get sent. So when a reference form has been completed, it goes to your email in your email box of Agency Portal. And then when it comes to recruitment email address here, make sure you put your recruitment email or your info email. As long as you fill the settings part in and you click save, that means going forward, any email that you receive in Agency Portal will also get forwarded to this email that's within the recruitment email address box. So for your agency, make sure you put your info email here or your recruitment email and then click save. That means you can then start sending emails to people. And if you do send an email to someone, it will come up with this email address that you've put in the box as the sender. So that way they know it's you contacting them. And that means going forward now, whenever someone registers on Agency Portal, I will get sent an email to let me know. And lastly, you have this section here called Candidate Prefix. So this just adds an ID in front of your candidates' names. So by default, when you go on your dashboard, anyone that's registered will have random letters in front of a number. But if you add a candidate prefix here in the settings, so for mine, it's called Portal, that means anyone that registers now will have Portal and then 0, whatever their number is. So the next person will be number 21 because Bob Smith was number 20. So that's it for settings. So you just want to put how many reminder days you want to set, the prefix, and then your recruitment email address. Going back to the candidate list now, there's only one more thing to do. So we've got our reference forms. We can now update him to the next step. So that will be compliance review. And we're going to click skip. And now he knows he's on the compliance review stage. So here you go to back to compliance at the top. And this is going to allow you to keep track of their compliance documents. So we can see for John Smith, he has already uploaded his passport and he's uploaded a DBS. Let's say his visa, even though we told him to bring it into the interview, maybe we forgot to scan it, or maybe he forgot to bring it. So what you can do here at this stage, because we've already reviewed him, we've already done our interview, and we've done our reference checks, the last thing we want to do now is see his compliance documents before we hire him. So what we can do is click the send email button here. So we want to see John Smith's visa, we click send email, opens up a template, and then we just click send. So all John Smith has to do here is they receive this email, click on this link to log into Agency Portal, and then he uploads the document himself. If you already did scan the documents, you can just click the edit button instead. So because we asked him to bring it into the interview and we scanned it, we come here, we click edit, and then we upload the document ourselves. So you click the upload file button, you upload the file there, you put the visa reference number in, expiry date, and country of issue, and then you click update. Once you've updated it, you may need to refresh the page to see that get updated. Once the file has been uploaded, the box will turn green with an orange outline. So like you can see here for DBS, the box is green, but it has an orange outline. So that means the file is here, as you can see. That's the Chrome file. So we can click on that to view it, or we can download it to view it. Once we've seen that file and we can see that it's real, you just then click the verify button. So you click verify and then click yes. So this is you verifying the file yourself. Agency Portal does not have any kind of scanning technique that proves if the document is real. You're going to have to prove a document is real yourself through you looking at the file or you sending it to someone who can verify it. But once you've verified it's real, the box will turn blue. So like you can see for passport here, the box is blue, it says valid and verified. And then you can see when it's going to expire. So if this file was going to expire soon, the box would turn yellow. The box turns yellow 1 month before the document expires. So if this was, the 1st of the 3rd, 2028, this box would be yellow because it would be 1 month before it expires. It will send an email to John Smith to let him know that he needs to update it, and we will receive a notification here in the top right. So you click on your notification bell and you will get a notification here to let you know that file is expiring. So you don't have to fill in all of these documents here to hire someone. As I mentioned, you can just upgrade him to an employee at any stage. This compliance section is just here for you to keep track of their compliance documents. So that way you don't have to constantly, look in a paper file cabinet and looking for all these documents, which could take you quite a lot of time. Once you've set the person up and you've got all their documents up, all you have to do is go to compliance and it'll only take you a few seconds to see that none of these files are going to expire soon. So yeah, it's just an easy way to keep track of documents, but you do not have to use it if you don't want to. And that's the same with the references as well. If you decide that you don't want to do your references, you can leave them blank, and that will not prevent you from carrying on. All of these features are independent from each other. So you can do the compliance at any order you want. You don't have to update the status. So let's say I left him on the form submitted stage. Let's say since the very start, I actually forgot to update his status. That is completely fine. You can still send your reference forms off. You can still send your compliance documents. It will not cause any issues. These features are independent and they're there for you to use whenever you want to use them. So even though it says form submitted, I can still send reference forms off, I can still get compliance documents, and I can still, upgrade to employee at any point during that application. But yeah, that's it when it comes to the candidate part. The candidate page is the one that has the most information. So the other features we can go through quite fast because there's not really much on there to cover. But this is the main part of the recruitment process. It will be you going through that application, chasing them up to upload documents, and then, going through that application, doing your interview, sending reference forms off, and keeping track of their compliance. And then once you're happy with them, you can update the status to selected, and then click skip. This will send an email to let them know that they were successful. Once you've done that, you can then click the 3 dots and then click upgrade to employee. So at this point, they've received a selected email, and then they will receive a text message letting them know they can download the app once you've upgraded them to an employee. So this is what the email looks like. So you go to email, go to the sent box, and then go to the top email. So it lets them know that they've been selected now as a nurse, and they can call us in case they need more information. So your email will come up here, your phone number will come up here automatically once you've been added to the system. So you will not need to update this yourself. This will already be done for you. So that's it for candidates and dashboard. The next one is your to-do list. So this one's very straightforward. All you do is go to to-do, go to the top right to click add a new to-do, and then you put the information in here. So title, you can call it John Smith interview. You assign it to one of your admins on the portal. So on this test agency, I am the only admin, so only my name comes up here. But if you did have several admins helping you use the portal, such as yourself and any admins you've hired, their names will also come up here if you create separate accounts for them, which we'll cover later. You select the date of the interview, the time, and then description. So in this description, you can add any kind of notes that you want to, so you can remind yourself of what kind of questions you might want to ask them. And then you click add. So once you've added them, they will appear here on this to-do list. So you can mark them by clicking on the 3 dots. You can mark it as done, you can edit it, or you can delete it. And it shows you here when one of them has been completed. Next one is File Manager. So this is going to show you your full list of candidates on the system. So all the candidates you have will appear here, but it's only going to show you how many documents they've uploaded. So for John Smith, you can see he's only uploaded one document because it says John Smith with a little one next to his name in a blue circle. So if I click on his row here, it will show me which document types he's uploaded. So I can see here that he's uploaded one passport and nothing else. So I then click onto passport, and then I can see the document here by clicking onto it, clicking view, or click download, and that will allow me to see that passport. This is the exact same method as just going to your candidates, clicking onto John Smith, and then going to documents at the top. It shows you the exact same file. It's just another way of only viewing the files. We covered settings already, covered the email box, and we've covered the bin. So the very last thing now to do with recruitment management is creating admin accounts. So as I mentioned with the to-do list, if you want to hire more admins and put them on the system so you can start assigning them interviews, just click your profile icon in the very top right. So that will be the white circle here in the very top right that's next to the notification bell. And then it's going to show you the email that you signed up with, and then you just have to click users, which is the second icon. And then you click add, which is in the top right here. So this will allow you to add an admin account to the system. This is just for recruitment management. So you give them a username that they're going to use to log in, give them their first name, last name, email address, password, confirm password, set the account as active so they can log in, and then you give them a name, such as admin, for example, and then you save that profile. And then underneath, you need to make sure that you manage their privileges. So this will allow them to have access to features on the system. So you want to make sure that you tick the relevant boxes that you want them to have access to. So if it's just going to be like a family friend that's going to help you with your interviews or help you with your applications, then maybe you only want to tick certain boxes. Maybe you don't want them to have access to the settings and you don't want them to have access to the bin. So you could tick everything else so they have access to those things, but they will not have access to the things that are red. And that's it. You just have to click add at the bottom. And then they can log into Agency Portal themselves using the account you've created. If you do want to log them into the portal, you have to give them this URL. So here you would just rename this to log in. So it would be your subdomain URL here, .agencyportal.co.uk/recruitment/login. If you need to get the URL from your account, all you have to do is log into Agency Portal, switch to Recruitment Management like we've done here, and you can just copy paste the bar that appears at the top. Just make sure that you rename up to Recruitment and change that to Login. This will then take you to your login page. So here they can log in using these details. So you want to send them this so they can log into Recruitment Management with their own details here. So that is it for the recruitment management side. This will be a pre-recorded video that you're going to watch before your training session. So make sure you do write any notes down or any questions down that you may have before we actually do the training session. So once we do go into training, you can ask those questions and then we can quickly come back to recruitment to cover those things that you may have not picked up on. But yeah, thank you for joining the training. That'll be it for this training video. We will still be having a training session to cover more features, but this will be it for just the recruitment side.